This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, discounted prices, miniaturemarket.com.
Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today we're going back to the cliffs of Santorini, and we're bringing by something new to the table. It's actually going to be made of gold. We all love gold, right? Well, today we're going to be talking about the Golden Fleece. This is an expansion to the game Santorini from Roxley Games, and so I'm going to show you what comes in this box, and how it's played, how it changes the game, and I'll see you on the other side for my final thoughts. Now the Golden Fleece expansion comes with the Golden Fleece itself. It comes with some hero card powers, some more god powers, and many different tokens and boards and things that go along with all these different powers. Let's tell you how it works. Now the Golden Fleece expansion gives you a new two-player experience. So after the pieces have been placed, then whoever placed first will get to place the Golden Fleece token somewhere on the board. Now on your turn, let's say this player moves, and let's say they build, let's say this player moves, and this player builds. When you start your turn next to the fleece in any direction, you get to use the one god power that is selected for this game on that turn only. Now here's an example of some of the new gods there. Like this one, this token gets put to the board in any of the 8 directions, and then when this power is activated, you'll turn this into any of the 8 directions you want, and nobody can move directly into the wind. Now Siren, also, you can choose not to take your normal turn, but then the opponent, you can move your opponent one space into this direction and they can go to any level. Now, not all the cards that just come with Golden Fleece can be used with the Golden Fleece. Any of the older gods from the base game that have this fleece can be used as the Golden Fleece god for that game. So you're getting an expansion that works differently, but you can still use it with the older cards. And not all the cards that come in the Golden Fleece expansion can even be used in the Golden Fleece example. And if some of them will be banned against other gods that would be totally mismatched. In this case, this one gets its own map. They actually move on the map here, but then they build on the board as normal, so they can see where you're building, but they don't know exactly where you are. And if they were to be moving into you illegally, you actually tell them and they lose their turn. This is a crazy fun one. Here's another crazy one that can be used in the Golden Fleece that does come in the expansion. You can tell by the little boat and the number here, is that wherever you are here on this with this god, you actually can build in the 8 adjacent regions, even if you're on the edge. And essentially they sort of wrap like that, which really makes moving and doing things very interesting. Now here are 10 hero cards. Now these cannot be played with the Golden Fleece variant, but they come with the Golden Fleece package. Now these cards can be used only in a 2-player game, and essentially you have to use hero cards versus other hero cards, or since these are typically weaker than the other cards, you could have one very experienced player use a hero card and an inexperienced player play with a regular god to balance things out. Let's take a look at how these work. And so these cards get used once per game and then they're gone. So it's a one-time power. Like once this person can build, then move, and then build again. This player can move up 2 levels. This player can move an infinite amount. Again, one time, done. There's 10 of these. So it gives you a lot of different things. A different variant, some new gods. You can use some of the old gods with the variant. You can use some of the new gods without the variant. And then it has a different hero. So quite a bit here with lots of tokens, lots of ways to play the game. Alright, well there's the Golden Fleece expansion. If you've watched my video for the original base game, the biggest asset to this game is the plethora of combinations of different god powers that make the game play like almost infinite amount of times, with every game feeling different. So with that being said, if I had just played the base game with all the god powers that come in the base game, which is a lot, I would never say that you would need an expansion for that, because I think it's great. Now with that being said, I still think this expansion adds quite a bit. I like the aspect of it. Two things. Number one is, well, it brings in new god powers that you can play with without this whole new fleece variant, right? So even more variability. Awesome. Now the fleece variant, right? It's a completely different game. No god powers. You play with the fleece. If you're next to the fleece, you can do a special thing. 1 power per game is there, and you're using some of the older cards and or some of the newer cards. And I think that's a cool aspect of it. It just, again, changes the way you play the game, gives it more variability. Not that I thought it needed it, but still gives it to you in a good way. all the different tokens, all the different gods. Again, it's just more of like, oh, amazing, but still playing it in a very different way, which is important because it's more variability and different with like no more complexity. Then you have the hero powers, which is awesome because the best thing is, well, you can play against somebody who's not as experienced, and you could take a hero power and give them a normal god power. So you get a one-time ability that's usually about the same or maybe a little weaker than the other powers, and then they get the normal power they can use the whole game. A lot of times when you play some of these abstract games, you get so good at them, it's hard to bring someone new in because you'll just crush them, it'll either be boring for you, or you'll just destroy them when they don't want to play it again. This is a fantastic way to play with kids or play with inexperienced players, and that alone might make this worth it for many people to buy this, especially if you're playing a lot of it. So I love that. Love the heroes, love the fleece, love all the different tokens, love all the new powers, love how they mix with the old with the new. Fantastic. It's not something I felt like it needed, but at the same time, it really is great. So if you like that game and some of these different aspects seem interesting to you, then it's probably a no-brainer for you, and that's the Golden Fleece expansion to Santorini.
This video was sponsored by Miniature Market's Review Corner. The Review Corner features podcasts, video, and written game reviews by gamers for gamers. Miniature Market, the online gaming superstore. Thousands of board games, discounted prices. Check them out at miniaturemarket.com. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for backing me on Kickstarter and making this season become a reality. I'd like to especially thank those here that have backed me at the credit level. Now, these video reviews are also available by audio on our podcast. It's the intros and the final thoughts on GameBoyGeek.com. Click podcast.